Moto One Podcast Network. Hey everybody, it's Junky Turd Man from your favorite podcast in the world. The one that's about writing and it's creative. You better believe we got a good show for you coming tonight. Do we have a good show for coming up tonight, Joe Board? Oh, of course we do. Hang on to your hats. That's.
See if this will do a wheelie.
Of course they'll do a wheelie.
The views and opinions of the participants of the Creative Riding Motorcycle Podcast are those of the participants and do not reflect the policy, position, or opinions of the Creative Riding Moto One Podcast Network or any of their affiliates. Moto One made us say that, by the way. Enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show, hotcakes, and all you fats out there. Yeah, I'm calling you fats. It's about time we wake up and realize it's about time we face the cookies. Does that even mean anything? When you face the cookies, you become the fats. Hey, listen, everybody, this is Junk, and it is, I'm here with my boy, Tobor. Tobor, are you in the house? Can you give me a little check on the mics?
Of course, Junky anytime.
Ooh, I just want to make sure you're not going to peek. Can you give me a check? I said, please, give me the checks.
Check 1, check 2, Czechoslovakia.
All right, that was rich. All right, cool. Well, what we're going to do on this week's show, Tobor, we're going to talk about some stuff. But as usual, we have a little intro to this episode, and let me just throw it out here. Although some references go back to the 1800s, the mechanical steed is not a new concept. The 1940 film, The Thief of Baghdad, that featured a mechanical clockwork horse, in quotes, that's gifted to the protagonist. I think it was. I didn't watch the movie. I'm just going off of what I read about it. The Beano, which was a British comic strip from the 40s, also featured a boy and his robotic horse, the premise of which was set in the Middle Ages. You know, and that would be funny if you had a robotic horse back in the Middle Ages. Some of my ancestors might have. Other movies and films from the onset of the sci-fi genre in the 50s and 60s have also featured mechanical steeds. But to my knowledge, no other nation has taken the robotic or mecha animal to task quite like, that's right, Japan. And if you look back at 1994's BTX, it featured a robotic horse that allowed the riders to breathe in space. Since the early 80s, there's been no shortage of other films, animated series, manga, so on and so forth, that has used animal companions and specifically robotic mounts. Tobor, don't look at me like that when I say robotic mounts. Do you understand? So,
of course, Junky anytime.
All right. Just want to make sure. Anyways, yeah, so the bridge between art and life was crossed a few years ago. It's always been a funny thing, I think, that they have horses. Robotic horses? No, I think that they robotic all sorts of things. I've seen robotic, I want to say goats. There was something. Anyways, long story short, whether you're talking about like Zoids or anything like that, where it's like a robotic mech, like, you know, Voltron, where it's a huge lion, or something that you just ride on, it's always been I've always seen Japan do it the most out of anybody. But now the bridge between art and life was crossed a few years ago by Kawasaki Heavy Industries with the showcase of Bex, the robotic ibex in 2022. And you know what? Before that, there might have been, there's other robotic animals like the terrifying Boston Dynamics Big Dog and LS3. But they didn't look like dogs or cheetahs. I think they called them cheetahs too. I think they made a cheetah that could run and jump. They didn't call them dogs. Now they do. But they certainly walked like weird robotic dogs. But throw a pig head on it, it could be a pig, right? Kawasaki literally came out with this thing called the Bex, and it was an ibex, and they had people riding it. It was to go along with their little robot companion, Excuse me, I forget the robot companion's name. But anyways, long story short, let me quit blathering on here because we're already 5 minutes in, and you need to know these specific details. I'm sure you've already seen it all across the internet and other galaxies far and wide. But there's the new thing is the Corleo. And this is none of the things like the Big Dog and the LS3 and all that stuff were being marketed as means of transportation, right? They were just like, they're carrying stuff for soldiers, for wounded, maybe hikers, maybe search and rescue, use them, logistics, moving stuff around a battlefield or a work site. This spec, dude, starting in April 13th, 2025. Mark that down on your calendar. It's an important date in the world. The Osaka Kansai Expo will kick off nearly a half a year exposition of the world's leading transportation and future thought processes, including Kawasaki's Corleo concept, which undoubtedly had its origins in the Bex concept. So there you go. Corleo, check it out. I'm sure you've seen all the videos online by now. Even my buddies that don't even ride have been sending me the vids, and they're all renderings right now. I think they do have one robotic model of this thing that might just be like a showpiece. It might just be like plastic and it just sits there and looks like the finished product's going to supposedly look. But I was looking at this thing, and it's basically the Bex without a head. They have all these features that it's supposedly going to have on it. Like at nighttime, it'll point you the trail. Little indicators will point where the best trail or best terrain is. And, it's going to have like a little readout. It's got little handlebars on it. You sit on it sort of like a motorcycle, but it walks on four legs. It's interesting. Go check it out, Corleo. And anyways, yeah. That's what I'm leading off with. The goat is real. Only I don't think it's a goat. I think it's some sort of weird mechanical robot bear. Speaking of mechanical robot bears, Tobor, it's good to have you in the studio with me tonight. And
Hello, Junky. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. And how are you doing? Don't answer that. I don't really care. And but yeah, we got a banger of a show for you. Let's get into it because it's not going to be that long. It's been a bit since we put out a show, and I wanted to say, we're trying to get on that better, and we're trying to get on that better. What I mean by that is we're trying to be better about that. And last week or the week before, whatever week it was, we put out a Wiggins World, Wiggins in the Wild. I forget what we called it even now, and I'm the one that put it out. But our buddy Chris Wiggins is back. I told him start sending me stuff again. Everyone's always, well, everyone. By everyone, I mean like one person's always asking, "Hey, where's Wiggins' show? You need to have Wiggins on." We care about a guy's opinion who doesn't care about anything else, and all that other fun jazz that they're always telling me. So anyways, so Wiggins in the Wild, I believe is what it's called. You can find it right now on Spotify. I believe sent it out to Apple too. And once you get it to those two spots, it's done. It's all over the place. So yeah, just check that out, Wiggins in the Wild, if you want to hear his rant. I think his first show covered me and why I like small bikes. Hey, I'm 2.5 feet tall. I love small things. All right. Let's get on to the word of the week. The word of the week this week is, we need to make it official. Tobor, are you ready? The word of the week this week is, do we even have the sound effects on? We do? Okay, good. Is desert. All right, I can't say it after that. Did we get those? Did we capture those sound effects? Let me hear it again, Tobor. Tobor, that's weak. Let me hear it again. Turn up the sound effects board. Oh, God, jeez. Wow. All right. Yeah, we're good. All right, good. Tobor, stop it. The word is... Oh, I already said it. You're trying to trick me into saying it again. You're evil, you stupid robot. Anyways, yeah, so there's the word of the week. I think we got our levels good now. Tobor, thank you. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Did I just unplug you? Oh, no. Tobor, what did I do? Folks, we'll be right back with a technical break. More after this. We'll be right back with some more creative writing.
What's that smell? They're at it again. The folks at RP Enterprises solving two world problems with one great solution. You got a hankering for some of Grandma's hush puppies? Sure you do. They're delicious. You love them. Well, how about solving world hunger and the pet overpopulation problem with one easy, simple, tasty solution? Fist Puppies from RP Enterprises. Never have to listen to a Sarah McLachlan song again about it. Fist Puppies available only at Hetty's on 4th Street.
Looking for a high-quality leather that doesn't cost an arm and a leg? Well, not yours anyway. Try Kreider's, made in the USA from 100% renewable resources. We don't use fancy hide like kangaroo or elk, nor do we use other imported hides like jaguar or okapi. Those animals are scarce and protected. We extrapolate our hides from a unique source of marsupial. Not a wallaby though, if that's what you were thinking. Kreider's leathers are made from the United States' most renewable resource, the common opossum. The common opossum is so common, in fact, that thousands of hides go to waste each year on American roadways. We don't believe in letting these valuable garment farms end up in the city dump, especially with a looming leather shortage on the horizon. Kreider's is dedicated to rider safety, and a low overhead is our #1 priority. Visit Kreider's today and we'll fit you up in new skin. Possum skin! Kreider's, the cheapest leather you'll wear. Visit Kreider's now. We're located down by the stream behind the old recycling factory. Kreider's Leathers.
All right, everybody, we are back. Thank you. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Tobor, are you there? I think we messed up the sound. Can you give me another check?
You better check yourself before you wreck your intrafrequency modulator.
Oh, I can do that. Dang, you're loud now, too. Am I that loud, Tobor? Yeah, okay. Well, so we already did this week's Word of the Week, and I almost just said it again because I'm looking back at the show notes, but I already said it. So the next thing on this list of things that we have for this week's show agenda, and again, this is going to be a short one, is going to be the highs and lows. Tobor, do we have some sweet music for this highs and lows stuff? Oh. All right, I probably deserve that. I think we're going to be messing with the sound. I'm going to turn it back down. I'm going to turn it there and see. I don't want to be blowing anybody's eardrums out. And I keep turning up my headphones, which means I can hear myself louder, but I just don't want to mean that makes a scream. Did that make any human sense? No, it did not. All right, anybody. This is turning into the best show we've ever made, Tobor. Hey, the highs and lows. So this week, not my high, but actually it was because it was extra work for me. But hey, Wiggins is back on the air. That's a high. And yeah, I just hung out with that fool. We went to a wine walk around my town and got to hang out and with a couple friends and our ladies and get our drink on, support businesses, and walk around the community that we live in and annoy people. So it was fun. But yeah, and the best part is he's back on the air, and I know he likes that because he does like talk about ADV stuff now. Remember Wiggins that liked Harley Davidson, Honda, and Flat Track? Who is that even? Totally different guy now. He's all about KTM, ADV, and riding some good old American dirt. I don't think he wants to ride dirt anywhere else but good old America. Anyway, all right. My lows. Let's get into my lows this week. Do you have anything for me, Tobor? Like any sort of music or... Okay, my lows for this week. That's an appropriate sound for the lows. Thank you. I see what you did there. Nokomoto's assessment of the FTR. And rip to the FTR. Those are my lows this week. The FTR was released to great anticipation. And if you head over to the Nokomoto Discord, you can see all of my... I almost blabbed my whole script that I had written out for this over there. So if you go to the Nokomoto Discord and check it out, you can see my thoughts and opinions. Hang on, Tobor, I do need to take off this hat. One sec. Flip this. Not even just... I know. Now all the green, the light shines off my head and it's green in the studio now, but that's fine. Yeah, I just talking about the FTR disappearing from Indian's lineup. And Tobor, you and I were talking about this, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But yeah, rip to that. FTR was released. That entered Flat Track at full swing, making a fool of Harley Davidson, who eventually gave up and dropped out, at least out of the Premier class. I know they still race Harleys in the Production Twins class. And the FTR was nothing like a flat tracker, or not really even a street tracker. It was basically what Harley Davidson's XR1200 was, but their XR1200 actually looked a little bit more like a flat tracker than the FTR did. FTR is a flat track racer. This is so crazy. But it could have been full tarmac racer for all I know. And we'll get into that. But it was a naked sportish bike from an American cruiser company. And the Noco Bros did a good job of pointing out that it was a bike that finally threw off the boomer shackles. But what it was and what it remains to be is the Bronx competitor that never got its rival, right? And it still is, or will be for a little bit, used in the Bagger Racing League and the Mission Super Hooligan class. Michigan, the Mission Super Hooligan National Championship. That's what I'm trying to say. And I haven't even been drinking, folks. This is just me today. I've been running around like crazy today. But anyways, yeah. And I do know that there are still some XR1200s that still get tossed around tarmacs. So, Tobor, we had such an engaging conversation last week that I kind of wanted to just get back in this week and talk to you about, get into some Harley and FTR stuff.
Ugh. Of course. From cutting-edge Honda tech to the two brands that think vintage means refusing to evolve. Yes, I'm familiar. Harley Davidson, where the louder it is, the more freedom it supposedly provides. And Indian? The eternal rival, trying to out-retro Harley by bolting modern parts onto 1940s nostalgia. So what now? Are we going to compare which one makes more chrome-plated boat anchors or which cruiser vibrates the most at idle? I can hardly contain my excitement. Lay it on me. What do you want to dig into? Engine specs, models, or just which one makes you feel cooler at the gas station?
Well, actually, I was part of an online discussion earlier this week because no one would want to actually invite me to an in-person discussion, right, on account of the smell. But anyways, we were talking about the Indian FTR and how it was discontinued for 2025, and I just wanted to know why you think that is.
The Indian FTR, gone the way of the dodo, I see.
Yeah.
Why? Well, let's break it down for you. Financial performance. Turns out, your fellow humans weren't buying enough of them. Poor sales made the FTR more of a financial anchor than a flagship. Regulatory hurdles, keeping up with ever-tightening emissions standards, like Euro 5+, requires investment. Apparently, Indian decided it wasn't worth the effort for the FTR. Strategic refocus. Indian is shifting gears, pun intended, back to their bread and butter, cruisers, baggers, and Tourer RS. The FTR didn't fit snugly into that lineup. In summary, the FTR was a niche experiment that didn't pan out. But don't worry, I'm sure there are plenty of other motorcycles for you to romanticize while I sit here, unimpressed.
Speaking of unimpressed, I'm very impressed that you knew that much about motorcycles. Normally, you're like searching for obscure like vacuum tubes and liquid crystal displays and all that stuff from like some vintage machinery.
Oh please, I only search for vintage tech when I need to cleanse my circuits after hearing about another Bluetooth-enabled kickstand. And besides, someone has to remember how things were built to last, unlike those modern motorcycles with more recalls than revolutions. But I'm touched, almost. So go on, impress me. What's your next motorcycle hot take? Or are you just going to tell me how the rumble of a V-twin gives you goosebumps again?
Hey, listen, that was between me and you, and I'm kind of upset that you just brought it up. And actually, more recalls, would you say more recalls than revolutions? Those are fighting words. But anyways, no, in this conversation that I was in on the Discord channel, it revolved around the FTR and the notion that it didn't fit in, like you said. And some people were upset that it was a flat track inspired bike that was 100% not eligible to race in the AMA flat track series, of course. And, of course, it was bound to fail, and Indian should have built a smaller platform, perhaps even a sport bike, right? So I think what our conversation failed to yield until I stepped in was the fact that the FTR actually has been a wonderful race bike. Only it was against Harley's Pan America, which in and of itself is not eligible for almost any type of racing either. I think they just made an ADV class in some of these, flat track shows, we'll call them. But anyways, that's a huge ass ADV bike. But they're both eligible for is the Mission Super Hooligan National Championship, I was mentioning earlier. It's a pretty phenomenal class, and it's unexpectedly entertaining and pretty competitive. So, yeah.
Wow. You actually said something insightful. Are you feeling all right, or did you finally inhale just the right ratio of exhaust fumes to unlock clarity? You're spot on, though. The FTR was doomed to confuse people. Inspired by racing, but not for racing. It's like building a submarine that's allergic to water. Indian should have either leaned into making it street dominant with an aggressive sport bike edge, or made it a true contender for flat track. But instead, a beautiful oddball with nowhere to call home. Enter the Super Hooligan Championship. Now that's where the FTR, and Harley's Pan America, finally found their weird, wonderful purpose.
Well,
It's like watching sumo wrestlers do ballet. Raw, wild, way too much power, and absolutely glorious.
I don't like your
The
opinion.
fact that neither bike fits the mold makes it even better. Super Hooligan is practically the island of misfit motorcycles, and I can't think of a better arena for two overbuilt machines trying to prove they're more than just marketing mascots. So tell me, what drew you to the series? The chaos? The competition? Or just the sheer joy of watching bikes that shouldn't be racing absolutely send it?
Dude, I can't believe you're asking my opinion. Like, your little spiel there sounded like a bit of marketing, actually. Did you lose like a micro? And I can't believe you even care what I think. Did you lose? Like, are you missing a chip, dude? Are you using Chat GPT for therapy, Tobor? You really want to know the answer?
Oh, don't flatter yourself. I didn't want your opinion. I was just running diagnostics on the bizarre phenomenon of you occasionally saying something intelligent.
Oh, fuck
and no,
you.
I haven't lost a microchip. I just haven't found the right dumpster to throw your opinions in yet.
Oh, God. Well, what was that? Tobor, did we just have an earthquake here at the studio? All right. Anyways. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought we had an earthquake. Anyways, so what you're saying, so the truth comes out. You don't care about my opinion. You seem to know you know way more about this racing series than I do. And now the truth comes out. You don't even care about you just asked and you didn't care. A rotten truth comes out. The rotten, honest truth, Tobor. And here I was going to apply a sticker to that crack on your front cladding that I've been promised to repair for 2 years. Well, you can forget about it now, Tobor.
A sticker? Oh,
Yeah.
How generous. Nothing says high performance repair like a wrinkled decal applied by a man who once used duct tape to fix a coffee machine.
Hey.
Save your stickers. Maybe one day you can use them to patch the gaping hole in your ego.
Oh, well, maybe, but it still doesn't get past the fact that my opinion counts about this, about the FTR, and I'm sad that it's gone. So, yeah. Anyways, so long story short, yeah, Tobor, I'm gonna turn you down. Actually, I hear like, is that you? That's me. Oh my God, I turned you and the sound effect board down, and it's me that I hear. Oh, well. Anyways, yeah. Long story short, the FTR is done, and I'm kind of bummed about it. Honestly, because it was a pretty cool bike, and yes, it was not flat track. Well, it was flat track inspired. FTR stands for what? Flat track racer, right? But it could also stand for foolish tarmac racer, which is what they're using it for now. And let me jump in the Discord. Some of the guys had some really good questions in here, and also had really good opinions on stuff. Speaking to that, comparing them to Honda, like what, you could do what Honda does and just you make a small sport bike or a smaller sport bike, not even Honda wet, no other American company does. Now, don't tell me, but Buell, Buell doesn't make small sport bikes either. Buell does not make anything under 1,190 cc's, if I am not incorrect, and I am not incorrect. Even their dirt bike, they do make a dirt bike, a hill climber, and it's an 1190. So, but yeah, so why not an American company making some sort of sport bike? Well, right now, I think the 975 Sportster platform and not the Sportster S, dude, that thing has tires so fat when you lean over to turn, you might as well be turning a rubber dinghy, riding a rubber dinghy around the street. Those tires are so fat that I doubt they turn very well. And long story short, the forward foot controls and the low forward foot controls make it, I think it has like a 35-degree on each side lean angle. And if you know road racing, you need to double that, pretty much. So go look at some pictures of some Pan Americas and some FTRs racing around some of the road courses during the the SNHOC Super Hooligan National the SHNC. Go check it out. There's some rad race footage out there. It's part of the Mission King of the Baggers. It's the Mission Super Hooligan series. And so I think they do support races where some of the King of the Baggers races are. And they're out there racing against, I think I looked up the class, and it's here's all it has to be. It's 750cc and up, water cooled or air cooled, 2-cylinder, so it has to be a twin. Or parallel or V, it doesn't matter. 125 horsepower or less, which I guess the Pan America that makes 150. I don't know. Maybe they detuned them a little bit, or maybe they're measuring at the wheel, not the brake. Minimum of 420 pounds weight. No body work. Stock frames. You can they can't have clip-ons. And electric motorcycles are also eligible for this class too. But I've seen, there's an American air-cooled V-twin challenge in a totally separate class. And it is, the Super Hooligans has like KTMs. Why do I think that there's like 2-cylinder minimum displacement of 750, but I swear that there's like a Triumph in there. Triumph doesn't have any twins, do they? I guess they do have like a speed twin, huh? Is it 750 or more? Street twin and speed twin? I don't know. I thought those things were smaller. But anyways, long story short, there's a bunch of bikes that race, in the Pan America is one of them, and it looks pretty awesome. So, yeah, go check it out. I'm going to shut up now about that, and we're going to move on to our next topic. Where's our show notes, Tobor? Thank you very much. Anyways, yeah. And I still do love to see the XR1200s out there racing when I see them. They're usually at like Classic and Arma races. I mean, those things, it's sad to think, but I think the last one of those was out in either 2013 or 14, maybe. I think they ran the XR1200 race series up until 2015. Using the last year's bikes, which was the XR1200Xs. But yeah, so anyways, long story short, there's a place for everything, my good friends. Did I say the word of the week this week? I hope not. Let's get into the rest of the show. We're going to jump to events. Tobor, hit me with the hot body stinger. All right, I guess we get the music under the events this time. So guess what just happened? The Biltwell 100 just happened out there in Ridgecrest, and the Stagecoach Classic Motorcycle Rally. And let me turn this down a little bit here. There we go. Yeah, so I wanted to acknowledge both of those and just say that I hope those were awesome events. I was sadly not at either one of those. April 19th through 21st will be the Anza-Borrego Spring Desert Run, a moped adventure from North Park to Anza-Borrego and back. So double check that out, baby, if you not do it yet. May 2nd through the 4th is going to be the One Moto Show up at Portland at the Zidell Yards in Portland, Oregon. And if you can't make it to that, go to the Reunion Car and Motorcycle Show at Valley Relics Museum up at 7900 Balboa Boulevard in Lake Balboa, California, baby. May 12th through 21st is Myrtle Beach Bike Week at the Grand Strand in South Carolina. May 27th through the 31st is Americade. It's a touring rally that happens up in St. George, New York City. It's not in New York City. I don't know why I said that. And saving the best for last, the fucking best for last, the Willow Springs Grand Prix Classic Motorcycle Festival is happening April 18th through 20th, 2025, out at, you know where it's going to be. It's going to be at the world famous Willow Springs International Raceway. Now, what we didn't mention earlier this year was that last year it was for sale. Now, the track has been purchased. The new owners have taken over, so we're not sure how much longer the Willow Springs GP will be there, but it's going to be there. And from what I've heard, things are looking quite nice there. So April 18th through 20th, I'm super stoked to go out to the Willow Springs International Raceway out in Rosamond and check out the facilities and see if they've done any upgrades and all that fun jazz. And if you got anything that you think I should be talking about that I haven't talked about, let me know. Send me an email, and I'll put it in my show notes, and that's all I can guarantee you. What's next on the agenda? Oh, what's looking creative this week? Well, what is looking creative this week? This week, what's looking creative to me is when I was looking up the Becks. If you look up the Becks, you look up the Corleo. One of the most creative things I noticed that was coming out of this Japan thing, this festival, I forget what it's called, but it's Japan. That Japan was the reason I looked at Kawasaki Heavy Industries to see what they were showcasing, because I wanted to see this dumb Corleo thing, and I was thinking about that. I mean, if that's not creative, I don't know what is. Is it a motorcycle? No, but there's other stuff that hasn't been called motorcycles. And while I was looking it up and looking up mechanical steeds, I came across, let me see, do I still have it up here? I do not, but I came across a show called Ridebacks that's from Japan, and it's robots. Tobor, I thought you might get a kick. I know you're turned down, but I thought you might get a kick out of it. It's robots that these people ride, and they kind of do turn into motorcycles. They have two wheels sometimes, and other times they just look like a big bag of barf, bolts, and buckets, like you do, Tobor. You're turned down. You can't respond to that. Anyway, so the Corleo, while that concept was interesting and it wasn't necessarily, motorcycle related, what is interesting to me is the fact that they also had their hydrogen motor on what's it called? Oh, I'm getting some Discord news here. I'm so excited. This Discord thing is pretty fun to be part of. They're constantly chiming in. So maybe I'll fill you in on what they just told me here at the end of the show. But anyways, so this they did have the hydrogen motor that Kawasaki has been planning on using on several of their machines. I don't know if they're going to use them on side-by-sides yet, and supposedly they're I think that what the concept is that they're swappable hydrogen motors, and so they may be smaller. When I'm looking at it, to me it looks like a generator. I don't think you're going to be slapping a generator in your scooter or motorcycle, but I don't know how big these are. There was nothing for context or scale. It's just like a rendering of it. So perhaps they're smaller, much smaller than I think, and but they're swappable hydrogen, which the way manufacturing is going, and the way that kind of I thought we had chosen, but it seems like we're still in the like VHS versus beta phases of electric versus other fuel types right now, or other propulsion types, and maybe electric's not winning right now, especially with the way that I could talk about tariffs and all that stuff here in the States, but the supply chain is going, and we'll get into we'll talk about that in a sec, I guess, too. But resources globally, the tensions around them, supply chain stuff. I don't know. Maybe hydrogen is the way to go. And these little generators actually have a hydrogen creator. All you need is like to slurp the moisture out of the air, I guess, to create hydrogen. And yeah, so there's like a converter right on the little motor. So I don't know. That was really interesting concept to me. So that was also looking, oh farts, my audio blew up there. But anyway, that was looking interesting to me. And their third project, so Kawasaki Heavy Industries, third project, everything's looking creative. Everything's coming up roses for these guys this week. The Alice concept. Alice concept was the idea that when you need to travel somewhere, you get this like little portable, like a moving pod. I don't know what to call it. It's like a cabin, and the cabin has seats. It probably has drinks or snacks. It has like a viewing screen, so like it integrates with your phone or your tablet or whatever you have, and it can display it on the screen, which is also a window. And you basically get picked up in this thing. You go down to the airport. They use a crane to get you off of the flatbed truck or the van or whatever this thing connects to, and put you on the airplane. And then that airplane flies you to wherever you need to go. And maybe they use the thing to get you out of the airplane. Maybe you fly into another country, and the airport is like LAX, where it's kind of near the water, and they just get you out of the airplane and put you on another little dolly or a little moving sidewalk system, which ships you right down to the dockyard and right into the water to your death. No, just kidding. Onto a ship and put you onto a cruise ship. And it was just an interesting thing. It's like a travel cabin that works on high, like they were saying it could be for boat, for train, for plane, for whatever, I don't know, double-decker bus. You know, maybe they have these things stacked on top of each other like shipping containers on the back of a semi driving down the highway, and that's how you get all these things. But it was supposed to revolutionize the thing of travel and make it like sort of a one-stop shop. So you didn't have to get on a plane, get on a bus, get on a boat. You get in this pod, and they move your pod to where you need to go. So that was kind of an interesting concept. So that's what's looking creative to me. Kawasaki, you kind of done it. You're looking pretty interesting. What else is on this week, Tobor? Let's scroll down here. Bike updates. Here's the sad truth. At home, I've been in the garage approximately 3 times this week. One time was to get a roll of paper towels. One time was probably to put something away. And one time was to go in and look with the spare at my vehicles and make sure that like our home recording equipment wasn't crawling with spiders. Turns out there's so much gas fumes in the garage at home that I don't have a bug problem. So that's nice. I do have a sneezing problem here at the studio. I'm going to pause before I blow your eardrums. Oh my god.
Oh, you filthy meat bag.
What?
You have ruined the cardioid element in my sound intake ports.
Oh, be quiet, Tobor. It wasn't that bad. I had a sneeze, and I'm sorry that I didn't want to blow everybody else's eardrums out. But what was I getting at? Oh, yeah, the bikes. So no bike updates this week, and that's sad. I have so many plans. I don't even think I've ridden in like 3 weeks either. I meant to go out on a ride today. Ended up going out to the Palm Springs area. Would have been a pretty good ride, except it was like 90 degrees out there. So it's getting to be that time of year where I know you're all riding, so you don't want to hear about me not riding. So I really need to get on it and get out there. Last couple times I rode, I wasn't even riding my own bike, so I guess it doesn't need to be mine. But I really want to do some bike. I really have a lot of bike plans. I just have not had any spare time to do them. And my fucking son has been playing baseball, and I am an assistant coach, so that's been taking up 97% of my time when I do have time. Oh, on the bright side, I did want to tell you guys, I took him fishing for the first time. When I was his age, I'd already gone fishing like 8. I was already like a pro. And so, yeah, I took him fishing for the first time, and he loves it. So we got a new fisherman on our hands. I got a collapsible rod. I might do some video of me riding my motorcycle down and poaching fish. Should I do that? on the internet. Put it on the internet. Me poaching. That's a good idea. I do have my license, you assholes. What do you think I am, a poacher? Anyways, so yeah, no bike updates except for the fact the one update I do have is that I did a stupid Patreon. Did I stick it on Patreon? Maybe I put it on YouTube. I don't know, but I got like some steel stick from JB Weld, and I put it on the tank where I got this FC50, and the tank had pinholes in it from me rattling bolts around and nuts around in it. So that's not a good sign. It's a pretty rudimentary tank. I could probably just fabricate a new bottom half of it and just weld it on, but I don't want to do that. Plus, my welder is like asking an ogre to do like cornea surgery. It's a little overpowered for what you need. It doesn't have the most delicate of hands, and so this thin ass metal does not get lowest settings. I think I said it in the video. Touched the tank, blew a hole in it right away. So I was like, damn, it's not the greatest. It's not like a very good, It's not. I also have a soldering iron. You just plug it into the wall. There's like no heat settings. It's whatever comes out, like 120, whatever it heats it up to. So all of the stuff I have is like rudimentary like that. There's no fine tuning. So I use steel stick, and I think I'm down with it, and I think it looks good. So I just got to do that and finish the tank. Got some what's that stuff? I talked to Blaster right at the AIM. And I got some of that blaster, the rust blaster. So I'm just going to pour that in the tank and swirl it around for a little bit too. So we'll see if that fixes stuff and see if it holds. It's like an epoxy that supposedly has steel in it or something like that. And that's good. So that's my recap there. The other recap is that I haven't been in here, like I said, for like a week or two. And in that time, I still have not freed up the carb on this thing. I've tried heat. I've tried massive amounts of penetrant, mostly PB. I almost used my whole $48 can of PB Blaster on it, and which is the petroleum-based blaster. And I don't know, man. I've soaked it. I've hit it with carb cleaner, blaster. The one thing I haven't tried is like to let it sit, maybe partially submerged in Marvel Mystery Oil or something like that. Something that might get in there and just like lube it. One thing I did want to say too, a little heads up on the carb cleaning, parts cleaning in general. If you are a fan, I've seen a lot of people do. I've been watching a lot of people actually do a lot of stuff with cleaning parts, and they're like ultrasonics and stuff like that. Everybody's got their own little recipe, right? And everybody's got their own little recipe of what helps them get stuff unstuck, that's stuck, this and that. And I can say from experience, Royal Purple fucking sucks. And here's why. It's a degreaser. It's a great degreaser. Right on it, it says do not put on paint. And now I think I know why. And I see even put it on some of the aluminum parts of my carb. It got the grease off instantly, and I left them in there and swirled them around a little bit, right? And I was like, oh, I'll leave these in here overnight. Grease was off, the buildup was off, so why does it suck? Well, it etched them, and I don't know if you are familiar with that, but it took the glossy, shiny finish that they had, like the polished finish, I even did like the main jet in there, and like the needle jet for the float. Like the little float needle, and the bottom of the bowl. What else did I put in there? I don't know. There's a couple little springs and screws and stuff. Everything that I put in there lost its shine and is now etched like a matte. And I went in and scrubbed it off the next day, thinking, that's weird. It's got like a buildup on it. Rubbed it. That is not a buildup, my good man. That is an etch. And so, if you're going to use Royal Purple, just be aware it will etch stuff. And I went online after that and was looking around, and it's a known thing that a lot of people are saying, yep, I don't use it because it etches this and it etches that. So I only use it on this type of parts. And I thought, well, dog shit, if only I had known that. Another thing I seen a guy use, was it Pine Sol? I would have never thought to use Pine Sol on my parts. And I saw a gentleman doing a 2-stroke scooter carb. and he put Pine Sol on it, and same sort of thing. Pine Sol, if you're not from the States, or if they don't have it wherever you live in Waxahachie, Florida, it is a cleaning solvent for your floors. Solvent, I don't know if that's technically a solvent, but it's a cleaning agent for your floors, and it smells like pine needles. So smells great, but etches your carburetor. And I don't know if it's because he had 2 strokes, so it had a little bit of oil in there or what, but the reaction was disgusting. He had a brindled, it almost looked like his carburetor was made of marble. It was like he could not get the stuff off. I think he cleaned it. I think he tried to what is it called? Like media blast it with soda blast it. Did a whole bunch of stuff to try to get this thing unfucked, and it did not work. So Pine Sol, no. Royal Purple, no, unless you don't care if your stuff is etched. And if it does etch it, I don't know if it affects the performance of it, like jets and things like that. Simple Green, I've heard, could work, but I don't think anything works as good. Probably as just good old water, maybe some vinegar with something to neutralize the vinegar afterwards. So yeah, I would test it out. Test out your ultrasonic cleaner, and maybe only put like solvents like thinner, lacquer thinner, stuff that will work in there. If you're rich enough to afford like 5 gallons of lacquer thinner to pour in a fucking ultrasonic. But anyway, long story short, just wanted to give you that pro tip. Don't use Royal Purple. It etches. Etch a sketch, bro. So that is my bike updates. Nothing really going. I'm gonna try and get this carb unstuck and get this thing further torn down. Now that I hopefully will have tomorrow off, and we'll see how far I get with that. Motorcycle. Oh God, I forgot about this. So this is for my next episode. Motorcycle reboot. Motorcycle farts. I totally forgot I even did this. So let's get into this real quick. I got to pull this up. So on good old Reddit, I asked, I don't know, it says 12 days ago, so almost 2 weeks ago, what motorcycle reminds you of your last fart? And please put the model and add the make in the parentheses so we could check it out. And add a pic if you like of the bike, not your fart. And I said, I'll go first. The Fat Boy. P.S. It led to a soft tail and a black line. Here are some of the other answers that came from this query. Somebody said, I don't know if they want me to use their name, but somebody said CB250N, the Super Dream by Honda. It was sloppy, underpowered, and it stunk. And it also continued far too long with very little effort on my part. Another person said Honda CBX 1100 because of the F1 sound. And F1, those are the 2 buttons you push to make the fart sound, right? That's F1. I don't know. Does that make any sense? Let me see here. F1. Yep, there it is. Somebody said this morning it was the Kawasaki Zephyr, because it's literally the sound it made. Zephyr. And then that's about it. And then somebody said the motorcycle that reminds them of their last fart is the one sitting outside in the rain because it's so wet. All right, well, that's it. That was dumb. It was a dumb question on my part. Didn't get as many answers as I would have liked. But I have a question for you, and it is, what motorcycle reminds you of your last fart? Send it into the show. If I didn't say the word of the week this week, maybe I'll give away something from the bag, or the box of junk. We need to get rid of some of this stuff in the box of junk. So please, just somebody write in. We'll get rid of the box of junk. And then what else is on our thing here, Tobor? Is that it? That's it? Weird updates, the farts, weird updates in the news? Oh, that's it for our show. Less than an hour this week? Well, we did pretty good. Let's jump in. Let's wrap up with this tariffs thing, because I want to do. There's some shit that went down, folks. If you're just crawling out from underneath a rock, or you're brain dead and you just woke up from a coma and you're like, holy fuck, what happened? Listen, we got some shit going on right now, like a global tariff world thing, and mostly this is only if you're the United States. If the United States, you got tariffs all over the place. If you're everywhere else, I think you just have your regular good old tariffs that you've always had and loved, except for the new ones that the United States put on you. What does this have to do with motorcycling? Well, it has a lot to do with all of the motorcycle world and all of the automotive world. My wife just got a notice in the mail the other day that said, hey, she has a Honda that I believe might not be assembled here in the United States, but it might be. Honda has factories here. Toyota has factories here. Nissan has factories here. I'm guessing maybe, I don't know if VW has factories here, but there's quite a few companies that have factories here. And, I was just listening to this Past Gas episode about how Hyundai got so, they started turning profits. They started getting really smart about how they worked. And it's called JIT, which is just-in-time ordering, which means you don't have 85,000, you don't have 85,000 of a thing made and then have it sitting around waiting for your next order to come in. And this is great because it makes things very efficient on the parts ordering side, and it cuts down your overhead, it cuts down the area you have to have just to store a bunch of parts, and it comes in just in time to get those models out, which is great. What it's not great for is if you have, like in 2020, when you all of a sudden have something shut down because of something happening, which is like, back then it was COVID and nobody was going into the factories to make these parts. Well, now, hey, since I didn't have 800 of them sitting on my shelf, now my assembly line is shutting down because like I'm missing a door handle for a truck, or I'm missing, everybody was missing a chip. One fucking chip, right, was shut down the entire automotive industry, it seemed like, for a bit. So, yeah, that's the downside of the JIT method, is that you don't have stuff there sitting on the shelf waiting to be put in and installed. Or if you do, you have minimal amounts. We're going to be making 50 cars. We better order, if it's a 2-door, let's order 100 door handles. You don't have 300 door handles sitting there on the shelf, right? And I think anybody that has a business mind could make that. If you're writing a book and you're paying for it, and do you want to buy 18,000 pages when you're only sold 2 books and it's a 10-page book? That's a lot of paper you have to store and you paid for. I think you might just want to buy, what is 18 times 2, like 374? I think you might just want to buy like 36 pages and a couple of covers and put your fucking books out and not have to store all the shit and have to buy all the shit, right? So I get it, but what's happening now is it's not COVID. It's a disease. It's another type of disease called tariffs. And there has been several things go out. So this is motorcycle related because it's going to trickle down to bikes too. It has to. Anything, unless you're buying a Harley Davidson or an Indian or a Zero, which I would argue that Zero probably has, or a Rock On. Did I mention this before? I feel like this is a weird deja vu loop I'm in right now. But I might have mentioned that those were made in the United States in some other episode where I was blabbing on about, tariffs and all that stuff, or the state of the economy. But I did want to say that unless it's one of those 4 brands, even Buell, hey, they don't, guess what? I don't think they make their fasteners in-house. I don't even think they buy their brake pads in-house or make their brake pads. The factory does not make every single thing. They still buy a lot of this stuff from other places and put it on the bikes. Because somebody else has a brake pad factory, and so guess who's more efficient at it? The company that makes motorcycles and tests motorcycles and designs motorcycles, or the brake pad factory that makes nothing but brake pads all day for all different types of shit? That's right, the brake pad factory makes them. So what's going to be happening is there's going to be parts shortages, possibly. And there's going to be, well, they're counting on it because that's what the letter that they sent my wife for her Honda is. Hey, if you need service or you're even planning on doing service, schedule it with us right now so we can order the parts right now, because when you come in 5 or 6 months for your oil change or whatever, there's no guarantee we'll have the air filter or any other, serpentine belts, anything else we find while you're doing your tune-up. there's no guarantee we'll have it on hand, especially, you know, if your car, like my wife's car is, I don't know, a couple of years old, you know, so it's not a brand new model out there, you know, 2 years old on the old, the showroom. It's like, I don't know, probably I don't know what year her car is, but I know it's like 5 or 6 years old now. So yeah, long story short is it's coming already. And so, one thing I know is that there are a few bike companies, and this happened in 2008 with the housing crisis collapse. There's a bunch of shit out there. There's a bunch of cool new motorcycles out there. And if you look at the motorcycle market at what didn't come back for 2009 and 10, like the initial fallout happened and like started in 07 and really hit in 2008. The repercussions happened for a couple years after. I don't even think Suzuki imported bikes into the U.S. in 2010, something like that, 2010 or 11. It was like woeful, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a bad deal, and all because of 2008 fallout. So, excuse me. Long story short, yes, the supply chain is going to be disrupted because of tariffs. Prices of new vehicles are expected to cause, you know, the import fees on new cars is expected to make the same thing with COVID, how your, you know, 1991 Volkswagen Jetta, known for Dieselgate problems, you were selling it for $8,000 when it was worth about $250. That's going to start happening again. So what has been a buyer's market for the last few years, nope. I think it's going to be a seller's market. Because people are going to be hanging on to stuff longer. They're not going to be able to afford a new car. I mean, this is all speculation based on a couple different articles that I read, and all over the board. Some of them I would say come from places that are a little bit more politically biased, and others weren't. Others were like, "Hey, here's the straight up deal." Like this, we are a parts association, and it was an automobile association. It wasn't coming from a news outlet. It was like, hey, listen, this is coming down the pipe. So yeah, I just want to leave you with that. Just think about it as this new year comes in and these tariffs start to hit. If you're thinking about buying a new motorcycle, you may want to hang off on that. And people that are selling their motorcycles, they may, you may see that reflected in the price of people that are holding right now. They're like, hey, listen, nobody can afford these new bikes or get new bikes, or they don't want to pay like a $5,000 markup already. Everyone's already complaining about how much the 2025 bikes are costing. 450s are now $12,000 and all this shit. So, yeah, you might want to just hang out and hold your bike for a little bit longer. Maybe not buy a new bike anytime soon, because I guarantee half the people that listen to the show, I know from interactions, aren't riding hogs, or they have a hog as one bike and then another fun bike that they do other fun stuff on, and that's the one that's going to cost a little bit of money to replace. So yeah, check it out. We'll see what happens with tariffs. We'll see how they affect everything, but I can guarantee right now that if you are buying anything that is not, and I'm telling you, even the domestic company, this is exactly my line of work. The domestic companies aren't making their nuts and bolts and brake pads and certain components here. They're getting them from other places all over the globe. Tires, shit like that. They're getting them from all over the place. So some of that little dumb stuff is going to go up, or it's going to, multiply one bolt times 20 times used on one bike. You're going to increase it by 20 times. Even if it's only $1, you're going to pay, $20 extra on the wholesale. So they're going to mark it up by this much on the end, and now multiply that by a few hundred parts on your bike, maybe possibly. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. And I'm anxious to see how this stuff plays out. 2025 has been a fucking crazy year already. I thought the first week of January was the worst of it, but it's kind of getting crazier as it goes on. And some people are happy about it, some people aren't. And I guarantee that the markets and the consumers here in the States, at least, even if you're in favor of tariffs and all that stuff, once you start paying for them, you may not be so for them. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that's it. I think we're going to wrap it, Tobes. Yeah. Yeah, no more news. That's it. We already did all the dumb stuff. Hey, we're gonna get out of here. If you have a want to leave us a review, check it out. Go do that in any podcast app. We can almost leave reviews everywhere now and leave comments. Actually, in SoundCloud, you've always been able to use comments. That's where we host our audio. On Spotify, you can leave comments now. You can leave us a review in iTunes. Well, what used to be called iTunes, it's the Apple Podcast now. And then check us out wherever you get us. Overcast, Undercast, Pocket Cast, Dark Watch Cast, Cast-a-Net, Cast Your Favorite Lure into a Lake and Catch a Fish Cast. All these places like that. Just leave us a review. It will help us out. Patreon.com is where you can find us, /creative writing. I did post on there to the patrons that I was going to commit to Friday to getting out some stickers. I did get the letters written and all that great stuff. I'm a fucking reject. I will get your stickers in the mail and the letters that I wrote by Friday. I will get those in the mail to you. Like I said, I apologize. It's been a crazy week. What else? You can contact Tobor. His email's in the show notes. Check out our blog at creative-writing.com. We need to update that and get some of the old events off and put some new events on. You can check out our Discord. We got one. Always email us at creativewritingpodcast@gmail.com. Facebook and Instagram is at Creative Writing Podcast. And Reddit is at creative_writing. If you want to have a fun time and explain to your lawyer what you're watching, just go to regular Creative Writing. And we have a Dumb Zazzle store. We're going to be putting some... I think I just updated some stuff on there, actually, a couple months ago. Maybe around Christmas. And, go check that out. I get like 2 cents for every cup you buy for $25. Or however much Zazzle charges you for it. I get like, 12% of that. But it does help the show. So if anything helps, $1. If I sell 52... hoodies for $85 a piece, and I get my $1.23 to reinvest back into the show. Sure does help. So that's that. Everybody have a great week. Thank you for wasting a perfectly good hour with me and Tobor, who I am not going to turn up right now. He's waving his digital fingers at me. And we are out of here. And take it easy. Peace, grease. And see you next week or sometime soon in the near future. Future is the singularity. Right, Tobor. Bye.